All right, here we go. Ramesh Fakhouri here at the IRA Club. Again, joining us here from the great city of Chicago. We have a guest, a presenter, I like to call expert in her respected field from MF Capital, Melissa.
I'm Melissa Forbush. I'm the VP of Investor Relations here at MF Capital Partners. I've been with the company for a little over 5 years, and we've grown to deploying capital above 100 million. So we're about 120 million at this point. But our true purpose, our true passion is people. So what we do is we focus on multifamily, but more importantly, we focus on aligning with investors that fit our criteria. So like Ramesh said, for us, we have a really big passion for education. And that's also why we have a sister company, Multifamily Mindset. We want to make sure that investors have the information that will allow them to complete their due diligence. And that's something that I'm extremely passionate about. So that's my job. I'm here to make sure that y'all can make the best decision possible, whether that's with us or someone else.
MF Capital actually has this great guide. Melissa, you want to talk about this guide real quickly?
Absolutely. There's so much that goes into really trying to align your investment with what fits with the market. Now, this guide is a perfect way for you to ensure that, again, you're able to do your due diligence. You have an idea of how to find the right investment for what you're looking for. Just like Ramesh, I'm extremely passionate about this topic. I could actually spend hours. And y'all, I'm pretty sure that this is kind of like where they at the Oscars, they'll shut off the microphone. I don't think Ramesh can do that. So buckle up, y'all. I'm excited to share all of the resources and knowledge that I have obtained as a passive investor. There we go. We're seeing masses of people realize that they have no control and they want to have control over their investments, including their life savings. So obviously we're all tired of blindly following that idea of, stuffing our 401k and not doing anything with it, or putting it into our putting it into our 401ks. And again, not having the unpredictable stock market. So this is what I'm excited about. As more people realize the tremendous benefits of investing and becoming familiar with multifamily, the accessibility of these opportunities have grown immensely for us as passive investors. So obviously, we like to focus on the wealth and freedom that real estate can provide. In fact, we love it all so much that it's easy to forget just how easy a deal can actually go sour. So y'all don't hear the millionaires talking about that. And this void in knowledge leads people to be jumping into opportunities, not realizing that even some of the best looking investment opportunities do not carry the same benefits of others. And if that doesn't overwhelm you, it kind of should, you guys. I mean, truthfully, having the knowledge to scrutinize and evaluate the slew of opportunities that are at our fingertips, it's imperative, especially with the number of investment opportunities increasing. And it's not a matter of if a property will have curveballs, it's going to have curveballs. So how do we mitigate that as passive investors? Some of you, I know I went through the attendee list, and I know that some of you are already in the multifamily space, which is awesome. But some of you don't have that experience or knowledge. So I'm going to treat you all the exact same, whether you have or not. In fact, I'll be honest, I'm going to treat you the same way I would my sweet little grandpa. If he was asking me these questions, my best friend, the sweet little lady down the street, my advice is not going to change. So I believe truly that to my core, that it is my duty to share all of the knowledge that I've obtained with you guys. So, and just for the record, that does not change whether you decide to invest with MF Capital Partners or not. I am passionate about educating you guys. So this is why all of these issues that we talk about, this is why we identified early on 3 key areas to focus on when passively investing, so we can really mitigate some of these issues that we see as passive investors. So there are lots of issues that could happen and most likely will, truthfully. But again, this is where we focus on our controllables. We focus on where do we begin. Now, number 1, there's a reason why this is number 1, y'all. The management team and their track record. You guys, if there is one thing that you take away from this webinar, let it be this. The property is null and void. Doesn't matter. What matters is the operators. And obviously you want to do due diligence on all of these areas. Every single one of these listed items are imperative to making sure that your investment is in good hands. But who the heck has time to do all of this? It's a direct contradiction for you guys to perform your own due diligence on all of these things. So that is precisely why it's so important to partner and invest our hard-earned capital with the team that already has experience running a fully operational business, which is what each property is. Each investment opportunity needs to be an operational business. So not only does that business have to have real estate attached to it, but they have to have experience managing people, implementing systems, procedures, and processes. And if they don't have that experience already doing it, then y'all are going to be, or they are going to be learning on all of our dimes, which is no bueno. So our investors absolutely are investing into a physical asset, but ultimately we know that you guys are leveraging your capital with us as experts into our time, our energy, our management systems. And personally, I wouldn't want to invest with anyone who didn't understand, or more importantly, accept that responsibility. So me personally, as a fiduciary financial advisor for all of my investors, there's zero chance that we would be where we are today without our investing partners. And it's part of why, our investors truly are our absolute top priority. So we're grateful for their continued trust, and we're grateful that they make it easy for us to be passionate about providing a safe haven to protect their investment. So the best due diligence, y'all, is when an operator's track record speaks for itself. This is our track record. This is what I suggest you guys look into. You'll notice this is actually just a slide in our business plan. And what you see on here is projected versus actual. So cash on cash is the preferred return that we offer during the hold period of the investment or the property. Now we project an average of 7.85%, but what we've actually paid out to investors is 12.65%. And same with your annual rate of return. Our projected annual rate of return is 21.8%. It's the average, and the average actual, what we've paid investors, is 38.02. So what does that show? It shows that we are conservative. That is what you want with operators. You don't want operators who are going to say, hey, you're going to get a 29% ARR. Immediately, I go, absolutely not. I'm not interested. They're not conservative. Where are they pulling their numbers? They're just trying to pull me in. I want someone who's going to be transparent. And we're going to get into transparency in just a little bit. But our actionables from here, how do we find operators that have this kind of a track record, and what questions do we ask them? So here we go. Question number 1. Have you done this before? Do they have a successful track record in this business specifically? Number 2, what is their background? How many deals do they own together as a partnership? What is the track record of those deals? Again, these are the questions that you want to be asking. Number 6, how many deals do they own in the same market the opportunity is in? Is this their full-time focus, or is it part-time? Do they have somebody boots on the ground that lives in the area to oversee the property management? And are they even using a property management company, or are they the property management company? Now, these are huge, right? These are absolutely imperative. But for me, one of the most important questions is, are they investing any money into their own deal? You guys, this will be an incredibly telling question that the operator will give you. For example, we invest in every single one of our deals for a couple of reasons, but number 1, we believe in them, but also it's incredibly important that we are equally aligned with our investors. So as a passive investor, you should want your decision-making to be easy throughout the process, because hey, their money is aligned and they're investing alongside we are. So they need to have skin in the game to give you the confidence that their decision-making will be in line with that. And hopefully these are all things that they have already sent you. Now, as operators ourselves, very rarely does anyone need to ask our team these questions. We bullet point all of this in our business plan. And truthfully, my job as VP of Investor Relations is to know what your guys' questions are before me or my team gets on a call with you. So how do we know what their questions are? Guys, we're passive investors as well. So we hear all the time what questions you guys have. And again, it's important to us that not only we're equally aligned or equally yoked, it's important that those items are valuable. We want to make sure that we're in line with you. We're not just answering your questions. We're giving you any sort of information we possibly can. Okay. I kind of jumped into here, but what projects? We already talked about those things. Now, questions, guys, don't be afraid to ask them. I just read you 14 different questions. Make sure to ask all of those when you're on calls with your operators. It's incredibly important to make sure that you're asking them questions, even if they have not answered it.
Melissa, can I bring up one question? I'm so sorry, love, because we're getting about 4 or 5 people jumping on saying that they can't see all of the information. Is there a way that we can move up the slide slightly? It's getting cut off on the bottom. So I'm just responding back to everybody. That helped.
A little bit better?
Yeah, that definitely helps.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys, for sure. Okay, guys, number 2. This is the next area. It's critical for investors to know the difference of each strategy, each of these strategies. Oh, where did it go? Oh, my slide's gone. Oh, that's okay. So risk tolerance, we've got quite a few different strategies, and it's incredibly important for investors to know what your risk tolerance is, and that their risk tolerance is in line with the strategy of the operators. Now, every strategy has different pros and cons. Investors ask all the time, what do you think is the best strategy? And truthfully, they all have different pros and cons, but also different risk levels. So if the team that you're investing into truly has your back, they're going to know what you're looking for. And they're going to know where you fit on that risk alignment scale. Now, if they don't know what you're looking to accomplish, they're not going to help you accomplish anything. So passive investing, it's an ideal approach to earn ongoing income and ultimate appreciation when the property is sold, but it's also a long-term wealth building strategy that can play into, creating generational wealth. It just takes time. So you have to understand, are you willing to wait for that time? Are you wanting a quick result? Where are you in your financial goals? So it's important to identify your strategy before you can identify your true risk tolerance. Now, number 3 is the market. It's important to look for established markets with modern or accessible infrastructure, population growth, and job growth. And we're going to go over this. So job growth, as I'm sure you guys know, it's job growth and diversification of industries is a huge tool. So large employers or universities, highway systems, and proximity to large cities and airports, those can also be signs of a solid market. But I'll be honest, I have a few team members that totally geek out on market stats to the point where most of our meetings, I have to say, all right, y'all, let's not talk about market stats anymore. I get it. So I could have had 54 slides on market information because we've got some team members that go crazy, but it's incredibly important. So I broke it down to make it a little bit simpler for you guys. So it's that simple. Job growth brings people. Job growth brings moolah for rent. So obviously that's going to be an area where we are looking into. So what does that mean? What are some questions that we can ask our operators to really understand what research they've done on the market? Here we go. What is the 3 to 5 year historical and projected growth across population, income, and wage growth? How well is the employment base diversified? Do the median income levels support the underwritten rents? What is the market vacancy? 4 very simple questions that if your operators cannot answer, they are not the right operators for you. It's incredibly important that they have the ability to not only, we can't have them do the due diligence that I showed earlier, where it's just a whole plethora of details that goes against your guys' true passion for wanting passive income, which is time. Obviously, this is how we cut down. So these are the 4 questions you'll want to make sure to understand and make sure that your operators are aware of and have already mitigated. So let's go through these a little bit. So how well is the employment base diversified? We prefer personally that no sector is more than 18 to 20% of the total employment, and that the employment base should be sufficiently diversified across employers. So you've got City Council, Wikipedia, and market sources can provide a quick overview for the initial analysis. By the way, that's for you guys. You guys can see very quickly what each area, which sector hits on that scale. Now, do the median income levels support the underwritten rents? That's an important one. As a rule of thumb, we assume tenants need to make 2.5 to 4 times the annual rent just to qualify. So again, take those notes, you guys. And then what is the market vacancy? Now, this is influenced by supply demand factors and the availability of suitable comps, but it's best to look at 3 to 4 post-renovation comps within the submarket. So I know I said that there were going to be lots and lots of questions, but truthfully, with number 3, with the market, you can really find out everything that you need to with those first 4 questions. Okay, number 4, we talked a little bit about this at the beginning. So alignment of values. It's so important to make sure that you're aligned with people that not only have the same values as you, but that you have clearly defined what those values are and they understand them. So now this might seem a little voodoo, like, whoa, we're talking about multifamily investing, but obviously we all want to make money, right? That's the whole purpose of this. But why not make money and make a possible impact at the same time? So when I have 4 kids. I think that I mentioned that in the beginning. If I didn't, y'all, I have 4 kids, which really equates to 37 most days. But when I think about my legacy and what I'm teaching my 4 little monsters behind the scenes, you know, I get a little emotional, but really where I put my money and where I put my energy has the potential to truly impact the world beyond me. So at that point, it's crucial for me to know that I'm partnering with those that have not only the same vision, but the same desire to focus on more than just revenue. So I personally have gotten comfortable with listening to my intuition and saying, absolutely not. I'm so grateful for my intuition. It saved me way too many headaches to count. I recommend you guys doing the exact same thing. So housing, let me pull up my slide here. This is us. We want to make money, right? Listen, housing is more than just an investment. Housing is a refuge for those that need a roof over their heads. So we provide housing for thousands of families across the nation. And I couldn't be more proud to be in a position to provide that. But I also want to provide an income for my investors. So it's very strategic. And I suggest you guys find operators that want to do that exact same thing. So I'm going to highlight just a few of our company values at MF Capital Partners. Number 1, transparency. Y'all, it's the basis for trust between investors and operators. Being transparent means being honest and open when communicating, no matter what. Guys, there's going to be good, bad, and ugly that happens at these properties. Now, I assume as a passive investor myself, but y'all want to know if it's avoided, how? If it's disclosed, how? How do we discuss the plan of action moving forward? There's going to be issues, and I'm sure that, you know, my experienced investors here are saying absolutely. There will always be issues. But how do you communicate that to investors? So the core objective should always be the same: to establish trust and goodwill by providing long-term relationships with openness and honest and in truest form, right? You can transfer that to any relationship, but we want to partner. We want our investors who wholeheartedly believe and appreciate that that is such a focus of ours. Now, just like with any human, we have areas to grow. And that's another one of our values is feedback. It's incredibly important for us to appreciate and understand feedback. Because if we weren't willing to understand it's an essential guide, and if it doesn't inform our decision-making and influence our innovations and changes to our systems or processes, then we're not doing our investors any favors. But to be honest, it's also an essential part of measuring investor satisfaction among current investors, which is crucial. So it's important to us to have a handle on investors feeling valuable, and truly it's the only way for us to grow. So because of this, one of our biggest concerns recently that we saw with our investors was decision fatigue. Ramez kind of touched on this, that our investors were feeling like, there's so many individual investment opportunities and I don't know how to decide which investment to choose. However, I still want to diversify, but it's stressful trying to identify which properties were best. For example, we had a property that we acquired during COVID that was phenomenal. I mean, most of the properties we acquired during COVID were phenomenal, but we had one property in specifically that was like a 70% return to investors. Now, we had investors that were like, crap, wait, we wanted to be a part of that deal. We were a part of all the other ones that were awesome, but 70%, So what we did, this actually goes to Ryan Woolley. He's an incredible dude. He's the managing partner. He's one of the key principals in our company. He immediately started putting a plan into action. So what we did was we launched a fund that mirrored syndication. And if you don't know what syndication just means pairing investors with a specific investment property. So what we did is our fund, it's just like a syndication in terms of receiving tax benefits being able to pass those tax benefits to our investors, but also giving them the ability to diversify. Now, our investors, most of them have stuck with us for 7-8 years. And so they know that at this point, they're investing in us. They're investing in our track record. We are the experts in choosing which properties fit their goals and align with their goals. So that's why we created the fund. We buy multiple properties, and which gives your investment the ability to be diversified. But we're also able to keep our exact same structure that we've always done. And now y'all's decision fatigue is gone. And it also decreases your risk and then increased upside for the investors, since your risk and upside is all diversified across multiple properties like we discussed. So if y'all see Ryan Woolley, make sure and give him a big hug, a big wet kiss on the cheek, or, a handshake, because that is exactly what I'm proud of, is our team will put processes in place. So with that being said, we have, if Ramez told you to get your phone out earlier, this QR code will show you the business plan. I know that a lot of you have funds in your IRA account and you're wanting to put that money to work. We would love to discuss that opportunity, and obviously would love to discuss how we want to align our values with you.
Thanks, Em. It was a pleasure. We'll catch up.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Tosh.
much.
You're welcome, honey.
Guys.
Take care.
The information contained herein is intended to help the viewer successfully navigate common IRS and Department of Labor requirements to help achieve successful results from their IRA. The information is not intended to replace information from your legal counsel or income tax professional. IRA Club does not offer or sell any investment. All investments have risk.